Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to y'all out there. Today is January. What is today? January 19th?
Already. Isn't
Wow,
it
look at
amazing?
that. I got it right because yesterday I thought was the 20th, so I'm going backwards. That's all right. I'm Aaron Phillips here in Las Vegas, anchoring everything down. And of course, the lovely Media Pat right here. Look, I did that right by accident. Look at that. I rose the right hand. Look at that. The lovely current immediate past governor, Doc Val. I'm just going to call her Val from now on because it's just getting way too crazy to mention titles. There she is, fresh from her vacation. Val, how are you, my friend?
Aloha. I am amazed and awesome. Yeah, I look forward to these Friday mornings like nothing else. Hanging out with you and our guests is like, woo.
And you know what I have here for you at the end of the show?
Oh my goodness. John
Oh,
Bremer's going to be so thrilled.
right. John here will also be thrilled because that's when he mutes my mic. So I don't know what that means, but today's magic number's 5. I picked out 5 good ones for you, Val. So bad dad jokes at the end of the show. Of course, travel with Val on the road. But today's guest, though, listen, John here in the studio.
Yeah, I have a suggestion. You should do
I'm
those
afraid.
dad jokes during the commercial.
Oh, that'll be for practice. Oh, I see. Oh, that's how we're going to start already, huh, John? All right. Okay. Today's show, listen, every show is great around here. And today's show continues to build on that legacy because not only do we have a veteran of armed forces, which we'll thank him in advance for his services, but he not only owns a company called Literacy Engineers LLC, which is great, which is really the focus of the talk today, but in his resume, you know what I find the greatest thing, which I'm going to have fun talking to him about? Did you know that he is a pilot of a Boeing 767? That's not a little tutti frutti plane here.
That's not the one that George flew off.
No, I hope not. He's a captain of one of these FedEx planes. So that's good to know because the next time I buy something FedEx, I'm going to give Andre a heads up to make sure my goods are covered. Andre Lewis will join us here momentarily. However, Val, I will say this. In your good morning, you still sound very vacation-y. You still sound very relaxed and happy. That's good.
Well, it's the word of my year. We talked about that before, and it's like my word for this year is rest. And so I am going to take the time to breathe, take the time to think about what's going on. And so the first part of the year is rest, then it's restore, putting the things together that are the most important in my life. And then it is at the end of the year, it's going to be restart. Everything starts with rest. So
there you go. Absolutely. I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us here on Facebook, thank you so very much. You can also catch us on YouTube under the WWDBTV channel there on YouTube. If you want to call us, today's your day to call, 702-992-3207. And in roughly about a week, it'll shrink back down once Roku gets everything established with all their upgrades and everything. Download the WWDB TV channel to your Roku streaming service, and you can not only watch all of the Kiwanis Connects shows, which, by the way, we're getting tens and tens of thousands of millions of people watching each and every week, but you can also watch any of the shows on the ginormous list that's available of all the shows, and WWDBTV.com also has all the shows there as well. So without further ado, Governor Val, would you like to introduce formally our guest?
Well, it is my pleasure. And I think somewhere along the line, Andre and I are related. But last year, this time, Andre was a keynote speaker at our Mid-Year North in Monterey, and he just wowed and zowed everybody. And so you gave a couple of his accolades and credits, but I would love for Andre to come on and just share a little bit about who he is, because, Andre, if I were to read your resume, the show would be over and we'd be on dad jokes by then. And so, it's like, what do you, when you think about your legacy, what are those key points that I'm going to start at the end and go back to the beginning. So what's your legacy? What do you want people to remember?
Val, thank you. Oh, no, Val, Aaron, thank you very much for this opportunity. When you say that, the first thing that comes to mind are my 3 daughters. Their ages are 21, 22, and 24. And I'm very fortunate. My eldest graduated UCLA a year and a half ago. She just finished up her postbac. She just took the MCATs yesterday. So if y'all can throw a prayer out there for 514 or 516, we'll welcome that. My middle one graduated this summer with anthropology from UC Riverside. And my youngest graduated a year early from UC San Diego, took the LSATs in October, and she just got accepted to about 7 or 8 law schools. So we're very fortunate. So when you think about legacies, I think about the opportunity that, I look at my daughters and what they have accomplished. And that right there is basically the food for my soul and for my heart.
Oh my goodness. This is like ultimate blessings and celebrations. That is so amazing. It's like I learn something new about you every single time we get to talk to you. And when we're talking about your literacy engineering, and Liz, can you?
So yeah,
I don't
expound
think
upon
I'm
that.
saying
Literacy
it right.
engineers. Oh, no worries. So let me give you the backstory. So basically what happened is this. Went to Air Force Academy, got a degree in national engineering, propulsion dynamics, basically a rocket scientist. Flew in the military for 9 years, cargo airplanes out of Travis Air Force Base. Got hired at FedEx in 98. Been there for over 25 years. As Aaron said, a captain on the 767 out of here to Oakland. Primarily flying out of international. Yes, sir. One of my claim to fame, I've landed an airplane on every continent, which I've enjoyed. Yeah, this kind of cool stuff we've done. Been very fortunate in that regard. But the biggest change came, I've been working with nonprofit organizations for over 30 years, primarily speaking to high school kids, how to achieve their dreams with academic excellence. However, in 2003, I realized we weren't helping enough kids.
Yeah.
So I met a psychologist who gave me this idea called FAR. Elementary is the foundation, middle school is accountability, and high school is responsibility. But without a solid foundation and education, the next 2 tiers of education probably will not be a success for that particular student. So I decided to go out and do a modification of those presentations and take them to the schools. For those that have kids, especially 3rd graders, you only get about 5 minutes of talking to them before they go buck wild. So I realized I had to change my methodology. So I decided to write a children's book that had the morals and the values encoded into the book. And then I would go out to do presentations. And then at the end of the presentation, I would say, I have a treasure for you, a gift, which would be the copy of the book, to be that tangible object for that child to remember that message. And my key point was that every child deserves to have a book. Knowledge should be free to our children. Because I remember growing up in Mississippi, and when my mom and I, she went through a divorce and everything else, and we had hard times financially, I couldn't afford those scholastic books. So when I created my program, I wanted to work with organizations to make sure that we provide a book to every child in the classroom that we spoke to. And that's going on. And I've started creating more books. We've done 26 books total. So literary engineers, I was just going to literary engineers. Go ahead, sir.
Confirm the web address so we can put it up on a crawl for us, please.
Oh, yes, sir. Literary engineers with an S.com. And that came about because I am an engineer by trade. So I solve problems. And my love is literacy and reading. I'm a science fiction buff. So I combine my 2 passions together to come up with a company called Literary Engineers. And then I have a 501c3 nonprofit called literary-tools.org. So Literary Engineers builds it. Literary Tools provides these tools to organizations and schools to help them facilitate our changes within our children.
I'm sorry. I'm just for John's sake. I just want to repeat the websites. It's literaryengineers.com, right? And then we have
yes, sir.
We have literary-tool.org or tools.
Tools with the S.
Okay, .org. Literary-tools.org.
And then we got one more.
Oh, go ahead.
And then we have one we just released this past week called the literaryportal.com.
And what does that provide?
That is my, I was the president of our local Rotary in Benicia during COVID. And when we cannot go out to do our presentations into the schools, I was working with the commission for our city talking about our literacy rate. And we had saw them drop down from the 7 percentiles in the early 2015. They dropped down into the 60 percentiles in 2018, 2019. And then when COVID hit, we dropped down to the 50 percentiles. And since our presentation was normally in person, I was trying to think of a way to how to get our information out to students and their families. So I created the literaryportal.com to give access to our books, facilitation guides for after school programs to help organizations such as Kiwanis go out and do presentations on subject matters to kids. We have workbooks in there, resources for parents. Basically, it's like the Netflix of literacy, intertwined with a little bit of Instagram and YouTube. And then we have these inspirational videos where we're having people within my LinkedIn biosphere talking to our kids and families about what they do and talking about why education is important. So it's called literaryportal.com.
So we have all the websites now appearing on the crawl for those visually watching. If you missed the show live and you're going to go back and watch it later on either YouTube, Facebook, or on Roku, the strip will be there. So you'll be able to pick up all of the sites. I presume you're also on Facebook?
Okay, this is really bad. I just got back on Facebook this week and Instagram. I was told I needed to do so. I'm a LinkedIn kind of guy, and I've always done that. But I was scolded by my board saying, you need to get back on here and share what you're doing to so many people, because I don't market. You can't buy any of our books individually. The only way you get our books if they're given to you.
So I'm gonna make a suggestion for a marketing tool, Governor Val, if you don't mind.
Please do.
One of the things we offer to support the Kiwanis Connects show and keeping it on the air, our studio will help produce customized commercials, 30, 60, 90 seconds for any company, business, whatever that wants to use the tools here. Proceeds for those commercials are automatically replenished right back into keeping Kiwanis Connects on the air. So I will be more than happy if you're interested. You and I should connect offline, and then we could chat a little further about it. If nothing else, you have the information to consider.
Oh, no, thank you, Aaron. I really, truly appreciate that. My company, Literary Engineer, is a single member LLC. This is my why in life, is changing and saving lives through literacy. So that's what I'm committed to do, because so many people before me made sacrifices for me to be here. And it is incumbent upon me to take on that baton now to help other kids live out their dreams.
I have goosebumps, Val.
Me too. That's why I know Andre and I are related. So, somewhere along the line, we are so related. And Kathy Szymanski, one of our international trustees, popped in and says, these pages are absolutely wonderful, great resources. So we have people all over the world watching us, Andre. And I know Aaron's much better at the stats, but there are tens and thousands of people that will have views of this show. And I'm so excited. And I'm trying not to fangirl right now because that just makes me stutter. But literacy is the core of my passion. And part of that is because I'm not sure many people realize when I was growing up, there were just 5 of us. And we traveled around the world. I mean, it was 17 times in 15 years. And the signal that we were going to move was that the books would start to pile up on the top of the refrigerator. And we wouldn't have access to those books until we got on the plane to move to the next place. And so my mother made sure that we always had books as friends because they couldn't always afford babysitters. And so she would spend one of her checks to make sure that we had a brand new book at payday so that we would read it all with her and tell her about it when she came home from work. And so to know that you're giving that gift is so important. And there are so many of us that it was a sacrifice to actually buy brand new books.
Yes.
When you talk about, when you go through the grocery store, there used to be one of my favorites. I would look at them. They have the little gold side to them. Aaron, do you remember which ones those were?
I don't remember the publisher, but I know they were a hardcover book, if I remember, and the spine has gold on it. I don't know. I don't remember the publisher though.
Yeah. And I remember going through the grocery store in Philadelphia with my great aunt, and I would touch them. She says, "Don't touch those. Those are expensive."
Oh.
And So, how did you come up with this model, Andre, of making sure that every kid gets it for free? How does that work?
Like I said, when I was working with nonprofit organizations, I realized that there are so many of our kids in our communities that are in need, and they're just looking for some opportunity to see something positive to make that change in their life. And I did a presentation for a private school in the very beginning when I wrote my first book, I Want to Fly. And that's when they had me send home a letter saying, if you would like to buy a copy of this book for your child, please send in your money. And our books have always been $20 since '05.
Mhm.
So when I got there to this presentation, I think I had about 80 students. And of those 80, only 11 kids had bought enough money to buy a book.
Wow.
And then watching the faces of those other children that did not get a copy that day, I made a promise to myself that I would never do that again. So anytime an organization brings me in to speak and we're giving books out to kids, I have only one rule. Either all the kids get a book or none of them get a book, because they all need to feel the same.
Right on.
And so with that whole process, yeah, I mean, well, you guys want to give me chill bumps too, because it's something so important that many of us turn a blind eye to. Many of us have become successful in our own rights, and we get to this level where we think we've made it, but many of us don't look back to think about, how do we help the next generation? And my purpose for all what I do in my company is try to build that bridge between those who have been successful in their journey so far, to help those that are disadvantaged, help those that need encouragement, help those that are going through hurts and pain that they don't have ways out. So our books are different than Dr. Seuss, and I love Dr. Seuss, but our books are tailor-made and customized to avert itself to a particular situation, social ill. Like we did books on oral hygiene, getting kids to brush their teeth. Devontae Driver was a 12-year-old kid who died from a tooth infection here in America. It should have never happened.
Right.
We wrote a book on childhood obesity. We've done one of my biggest and greatest opportunities was working with one of my clients, Casper, Wyoming. You go up there 3 times a year to go do presentations at like 13 or 12 schools. They will buy between 3,000 to 5,000 copies of our books each year. In 2009, they were mandated by the state to have a bullying policy in place. They came back with a 9-page legal document and asked me, say, Andre, we don't understand this. Can you write a children's book that explains what this means? And so I took that 9-page legal document, broke it down in the essence of the 5 different phases of bullying, wrote a children's book that not only talked about bullying, but taught kids how to react to bullies, and also educated parents on how they should deal with it when their child's being bullied. Rewrote the bullying policy to make it only 2 pages that was comprehensible by the students as well as the family and the faculty. That book, along with other measures, helped reduce the bullying by 32% in the city.
I need to take a pause right there. We need to step aside for our quick commercial break. When we get back on the other side, we're going to learn more about the books, including a connection here to Las Vegas of all the books that are on the site, which I'm so happy to hear about. We'll talk about that. And of course, when we come back on the other side, that means we're getting closer to bad dad jokes at the end of the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Kids need Kiwanis, and Kiwanis needs you. The Kiwanis Club of Santa Rosa has been improving the quality of life for kids and families in the Sonoma County for about 100 years. How? By addressing the needs of children in their own community and region. The Kiwanis Club of Santa Rosa does book giveaways for K-5 grade schools that support reading as fundamental. Students in each grade get to select a book and build their own private library. Community outreach included building the K-Land Old West in a family park right in the city of Santa Rosa. Students also get a great opportunity to learn important leadership skills by being a part of the Kiwanis-sponsored youth program called Key Club. Of course, many of the programs that are provided cost money. The club's famous pancake-making machine can be found at Father's Day breakfasts, graduations, the Santa Rosa Marathon, and more to support their fundraising efforts. They also volunteer at the Redwood Empire Food Bank by sorting donations, weighing carrots, packed food boxes, and even hosted food collection drives to help their fellow families and neighbors in need. What can you do to help? Join our Kiwanis Club and enjoy fellowship with other like-minded people from our community who wish to make a difference in a child's life and the child's family. For more information, visit our website at kiwanisofsantarosa.org or on the Kiwanis Club of Santa Rosa on Facebook. You can email us at santarosacakiwanis@gmail.com. Come be a part of the Kiwanis Club of Santa Rosa as we help build strong communities, one child at a time. Okay. All right, welcome back. We ran that one purposely for you, Andre, to show you how one of our Kiwanis clubs is so involved in literacy. That worked out so well, didn't it? We did that. And also, thank you, Diane. We'll send you the check in the mail later for having us run that. Anyway, no, all good. Listen, during the break, Val and I were messaging, and John here in the studio, we just have one word to say with everything that you've shared thus far, and that's mom, upside down, meaning wow. The fact that you've been doing this since the early 2000s to support these kids and really anybody that needs literacy needs the help. But like you said, that foundation is so critical. I work in an elementary school and I tutor kids in reading and sounds and everything else. And it will surprise people what really is going on. If you don't have kids in elementary school or don't have anybody that's involved in education, you hear things, but it doesn't compute until your hands are there and you're working with these kids and your feet are on the ground involved. And so this is very emotional for me to hear of such a resource being available to all kids. That being said, before we get into the connection to Vegas, with all that happened out in Hawaii, and I don't know, maybe you guys talked about this already with Lahaina and the rebuilding of that part of the island, all the kids that lost a lot of stuff. Is there anything on your drawing board to maybe support the young children out there in Hawaii that need continued support? Books?
One of the books that I really want to do is to create a book that when there's a natural disaster or circumstances that happen, we're able to get books into the hands of the kids. When they've lost everything, I would like to give them a sense of hope. Like I think it was Hurricane Harvey down in Houston. What I did then is when that elementary school we provided free book to every child. And then I had the high school students actually sign the books with a personal message to every student at the elementary school. Wow. So I got the list of the names and I donated that out of my company to make that happen. Because I know in those moments of times when you don't have anything, just a little bit of hope could do miracles. And that's something that I want to help do and help organizations that are working within those fields to give them a tool, which is a book that can translate that message.
Amazing. All right, I teased it before the break. Now, of all the books, you said you've got over 20 books on your website so far that are published? So before I went on the air, folks, Andre and I were talking that he actually has a book that is based here for Las Vegas, written for the Las Vegas Marshals. John, if you can bring up the picture, can you just talk about how this all came about here?
Yes, the chief, Jason Potts, originally was out in California in Vallejo, and I had done a book for Making It Better in Vallejo, which is a book created to improve the relationship between law enforcement and the community. When these officers go out to do this presentation, and we did this in Las Vegas on May 5th, as Ernest May was the elementary school, there was about 8 to 9 officers there. They read the book. Then they talked to the kids about safety tips for themselves as well as safety tips for their parents. And at the end, each officer signed the book with their name and badge number. Told the kids, if you ever get stopped by somebody, tell them you're one of mine. And that right there just galvanizes the impact of how we need to change the narrative about making sure those people that are in positions that are serving our community know that we care about them. And also what it did, it helps us with our law enforcement agencies to see our kids as kids, to build that relationship, to hopefully stop the negativity that we see out there currently. I'm here to change that by bringing positive inputs through the use of a children's book. So we customize the book for a city. Anywhere that needs that kind of device, we'll customize it with their badges, names, and also makes it look like the cars. So when the kids see that book, they see their community.
So those kids that had that book now with the officer's name and badge number, when they get their license and they become 50 years old, if they still had that book in their car, can they still show it to the
Hey, I'm doing it.
I got cheap pots on my roller now. So when I roll through Vegas, I know I'm in good hands. I'm taken care of.
Excuse me, officer. I don't have license or registration, but I had this book when I was in elementary school. Call this police officer. He'll vouch for me. But no, I
Yes,
think
sir.
the one thing that I'm hearing, and Val, obviously, I know you're hearing the same thing. We've had folks on the show that talk about supporting literacy and providing books, and it's all important. Don't get me wrong. But Val, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Andre is the first one that I can recall that's creating such a personal touch with the officers. Sign a book. When you go into the high schools have to sign a book and continue that legacy. I can't think of any other literacy program that comes to mind at this second that makes such a personal connection with the kids that they're giving books to. Do you?
No, Andre's magic. I mean, it's just, it is, Andre has this, taken this to the next level of what we should be doing. And he is truly engineering a future that I really want us all to follow. And so that's why, I brought him on to be a part of a keynote for us. And people were going, who's this Andre? Is this like your cousin coming to talk to us in Monterey? And so people were going, "Ugh." And then Andre got on the stage, and all of a sudden it was like, wow, that's Andre. And I got pushed aside and didn't even get a chance to get my final hug from Andre because he's truly the real deal.
Right.
And so Andre, what you're doing is the next step. And I think most of the Kiwanis world, hearing this and seeing this, because we have a couple of international trustees that are watching us right now. A couple of them are actually running for international vice president and president. They're looking at you and knowing that we have 3 pillars that we follow on the Kiwanis international level. And one of them is an infusion of literacy as one of our main pillars. And it is the leading thing that we're following and partnering with other organizations. And I know that our friend in Kiwanis International came out last year, and she sings your praises all the time. And
Yes.
I'm glad that you'll be going to. I think you're going to Key Club International. Is that right?
I don't know yet. They're still making a determination. I was hoping to speak at Kiwanis International, but to your point, we did a book called Excited to Serve, which is a book about service organizations such as Kiwanis, Rotary, and so forth that I created. Mm-hmm. That book has already been translated in 9 different languages. So that international, that appeal that you're looking for, I've already created it, as well as a workbook and a facilitation guide. But my vision is to be able to have these members of organizations like Kiwanis and Rotary go back into our schools, using this book as a stepping stone to talk about their purposes for service. Along with that, give these members who've had this lineage of doing all these amazing things in their lives, be able to pass down that information to the next generation and give them that bridge of communication. I mean, for me, I'm fortunate that I'm around amazing people that I'm able to converse with within these organizations. The only issue is our kids that need to see them the most can't, and they don't. We stay in our silos in our meetings. We stay in our silos at the events that we host. But our kids, especially those in those social disadvantaged communities, need to be able to have a way to connect with these organizations. So yeah, I created a book, Excited to Serve, primarily for organizations such as Kiwanis, to give those members the opportunity to go into their local schools to be able to share the importance of service, as well as showing them, these kids, a pathway to success. So yeah,
I got it.
I'm on a mission.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that you were past president of Rotary. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I was a past president for my local Rotary in Benicia.
Are you still involved in Rotary?
Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, we got to go to a meeting next week. I'm going to a leadership seminar where we're celebrating the next leadership of the organization. I see these. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I know that's kind of taboo between Kiwanis and Rotary some days.
No, not on this show.
And the two doesn't mix a little.
Not on this show.
Oh, well, great then. I appreciate that, because I didn't know about Rotary 5 years ago. The way I came and talk about Rotary, I was in Taiwan going down the elevator I saw this guy who was an American speaking, and I am the guy that loves to run my mouth. I said, hey, where you from? He says, I'm from California. I'm like, cool, what do you do? I'm from California too. Long story short, he's talking about his business that he's there, but he says, pretty soon I got to go to Kenya to go check on this water project for this organization. I'm like, what organization? Rotary. I said, well, are there any kids out there that you're going to be visiting? He says, it's a school there, about 300 kids. I said, well, do you mind if I gift every child a book? He goes, young man, if you give the books, I'll make sure they get there. So we have a picture on our website. That's
cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's nothing written. You know, we're an equal opportunity supporter of all community service groups. So I'd be remiss if I didn't put this out there. There's nothing that says you can't be a member of Kiwanis while you're a member of Rotary, by the way. I just thought I'd put it out there, Andre. Read between the lines if you'd like. But I'm sure
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
I am.
I just met Andre 35 minutes ago. I didn't look at his, I didn't go through his P&L statements for crying out loud.
No.
I didn't know that.
No. I'm a member of Kiwanis as well. I've donated programs and books, for their organizations as well.
I know you've donated. You're an equal opportunity donator. I get that. Okay. Anyway, I asked the obvious. All right. I do have one kind of like side note, silly question, because that's just kind of what I do. You said you've touched down in every continent on the globe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Give me the weirdest location you've had to land a plane for deliveries.
Antarctica. Well, I was in the military, and I had and we were staying out of Christchurch, New Zealand, and we do a resupply mission over to McMurdo Station, which is in Antarctica. And that was truly an amazing opportunity to fly airplane down there and then see that it's actually landed on the ice. There's no runway. They just take the ice and they grade it. And we landed our aircraft down there, spent a couple of hours, and then brought it back up to Christchurch. So, yeah, that was one of my little feathers in the hat to say that I've had the chance to land on the ice.
I love that. Now, before I forget, we have a couple of videos that are queued up and ready to go. Would you like us to play them back to back so that we can go through them?
Sure.
All right.
Yes, sounds great.
We have a couple of videos, folks, so please keep an eye.
Students get more athletic support than educational support. It is easier to teach a child to kick, hit, or run with a ball than it is to teach them to read. Literacy is so important because if someone is unable to read, learn, or work, their future will be limited. Go right now to literaryportal.com to change and save lives through literacy. You, and yes, you too, can change the life of a child today. All it takes is making sure they have nearly unlimited access to books that will encourage them to read and resources to build a better future. With all the technology available, many of us don't take the time to read like we used to. Many of us take reading for granted, but for too many, it is a lifelong struggle, limiting their chances for success. The Literary Portal provides opportunity for children to explore the world from their fingertips on a nearly unlimited number of real-world topics. It will provide resources to teachers, children, and their families. Why should we care? Reading levels are dropping. Without the Literary Portal, we see an increase in jails, homelessness, and working poor. Students get more athletic support than educational support. It is easier to teach a child to kick, hit, or run with a ball than it is to teach them to read. Literacy is so important because if someone is unable to read, learn, or work, their future will be limited. The Literary Portal will have your children glowing with enthusiasm, reading for fun, and learning how to build a better future. Your yearly subscription will give your family access to books, workbooks, resources, and inspirational videos for less than 1 cup of coffee per month. Businesses, organizations, and individuals, for a limited time, can gift a yearly subscription to families. Go right now to literaryportal.com to change and save lives through literacy.
Not that Andre hasn't painted a wonderful, clear picture of what the organization is about. But those two pieces, Andre, I think really lay out a great description of what the organization's about and the target. I think those were great pieces.
Thank you, Aaron. And that's the whole point, is that, of us that have become successful realize that literacy is the key. Reading is truly the fundamental aspect of all of our success. And right now, we're in an age where technology is at the fingertips of these kids, and we're not stressing reading as much as we need to. That's my perspective. And so I am really focused in on making sure this generation does not become the lost generation, that we don't wake up later from 10 to 20 years ago and go, why are our kids not able to communicate? Why have we lost the knowledge? So it is incumbent upon us, those that are in positions right now, to go back to start and light that fire of why reading is so much fun. And I think the thing that is different between our books as well, this is not scholastic books, no disrespect. This is not curriculum based. This is inspirational based. All of our books have an inspirational component to it to inspire children to achieve an accomplishment or to achieve a particular act. For example, we just did a book on financial literacy. That book educates kids in elementary the importance of finance, as well as the resources for their parents. We're teaching parents about budgets. How do you give a kid to have allowance? Give them the 1090 rule, 10%, save $1 out of every 10. Teaching them to be patient, teaching them to wait, teaching them not to be instant gratification. And then once they get a little bit older, talk about the 70-20-10 split, or when they have their families, the 50-20-30 split. All these types of resources, we're putting it under the literary portal because some of these things are not being taught in schools. Mm-hmm. They're so interesting and making sure you hit the right bubble that we're not talking about the whole child. So my point is to bring in people with a tool as a book to give them a segue to go into our schools to make a difference.
That money management should be a senior class as well in high school. But go ahead, Val.
I was just going to say, I actually had someone on one of my boards that became a treasurer, and I don't know how that happened because he'd never been taught how to write a check.
Jeez.
Wow.
And
yeah.
And so I'm looking at this and talking with the bank as to why the check did not clear. We need to go back to some of those fundamentals. The school, there's so much that isn't in the basic curriculum that they miss out on. And there's an assumption that this is just going to be absorbed into our world. And so these tools are truly, you use the word inspiring. I use it's innovative. You're really taking a new look at things and talking the language that needs to be talked about. And I see something that I hope is really intentional. Whenever I've looked at all of your books, it reflects the community.
Yes. And that's one of the major important points that what we do is inclusivity, in the sense that, multicultural, and that even includes ethnicities, kids with disabilities. We're very intentional in ensuring that those kids see themselves in our books. All kids see themselves in our book. The book we did for Excited to Serve is a great example of that, where we have different nationalities, even some that are foreigners that come in, and how we accept everybody for who they are. Because as we know here in America, what makes us amazing is our differences. And then our differences expound among us, that we bring all this thing collectively into this area, that we make ourselves better. And I see that as a bonus. And I want to highlight that in my work. So when you look at our works, you're right, Val, it's intentional that we make sure that every child can see themselves in our books.
Mm-hmm. My friend Mary Winfrey out in North Carolina, she and I were governors together. Mary is First Peoples, and very proud and an amazing, beautiful woman. And one of the conversations that we had that really resonated with me, and when I was working in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan with Bob Larson, Native American kiddos, our first kiddos, don't see themselves very often in literature. And that's the superpower that I would love for you to maybe help with as we move forward. We're starting to provide more books to some of our reservations, because there are a lot of schools on reservations that haven't had a new book in 11 to 12 years, because
Oh,
they're
wow.
no longer on the federal registry, and they're not linked into the federal library registries. So
So, Val, my word is my bond, as you already know. I'm already committed for that cause. I'm just looking for the proper organization that wants to work with me to create that book. In our book, No More Bullies, and that we did, there actually a Native American child is already in that book. His name was Dakota. So I'm already on that purposes of trying to do that. I've spoken to, I got a chance to be a speaker at one of the nations down in San Diego, where they brought me in to speak to their kids. And I see where there's needs to be a connection from the past to appreciate the lineage of where their past has come from, but also to update it to the new generation to bridge that gap of respect and honoring those traditions. So if you have an organization that wants to move forward, I'm the person you need to work out, and I'm here to help.
we
Real
got
quick.
it. We will make those connections.
Absolutely. Real quickly before we go to break, Andre, please give the 3 websites again. When we come back from break, I'll have John run the crawl again, but go ahead and please give the 3 websites, and then we're going to go to break.
Okay, Literary Engineers is the publication company, and it's literaryengineers.com. Literary-tools.org is our nonprofit, and the literaryportal.com is the access to all of our ebooks.
Is there an email or direct contact that you can offer for folks maybe to reach out direct to you?
Yes, A. Lewis, Lewis, at literaryengineers.com.
Gotcha. All right. Very cool. We're going to step aside for our final break of the show. So when we come back, we can get all the final nuts and bolts from Andre, see where Val's going to be on the road. And of course, you know those jokes I like to give at the end of the show. They're coming up. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Granville Allied Gardens Kiwanis Club was founded in 1960. We provide service to Allied Gardens, Granville, San Carlos, Del Cerro, and surrounding communities of San Diego. Our support extends to the youth of our community by sponsoring programs at Hearst Elementary School K-Kids, Lewis Middle School's Builders Club, Patrick Henry High School's Key Club, and San Diego State University Circle K. Some of our favorite events and charities we support include the First Friday Concerts in the Park, Patriotic Holiday Flags on Waring Road, Meals on Wheels, Cub Scouts, and the Allied Gardens Little League. Join our club. We are looking for people who care about making a difference for our children, for our community, and for our world. For more information about our Kiwanis Club and becoming a member, please visit www.alliedgardenskiwanis.org.
All righty, welcome back as we get ready to come around the clubhouse turn on today's edition of Kiwanis Connects. Quick reminder, we've shared a lot of information, a lot of books and websites and everything else. And sure, you can write it down when it's on the crawl. Sure, you can write it down when Andre's giving it to you. Hopefully you're not doing any of that while you're driving, of course. But the beauty of our show, visit us. As soon as we get off the air, go back right onto the Facebook videos tab, click the link, rewatch the show, get all the information you'd like. Do the same thing on YouTube, on the WWDBTV YouTube channel. And again, if you got Roku, simply download it. If you have Roku, download WWDBTV to your service on your network for Roku, and you can pull up this show, Kiwanis Connects. Today's show specifically will be available in about a week's time. You can watch it there as well to pick up all the information. However, his email address is pretty easy, alewis@literaryengineers.com. So if you forget all the websites, that should be the easy one to remember. And he will be on Facebook coming soon to a theater near you. Okay. But you are heavily on LinkedIn. Is that correct?
Yes, LinkedIn has always been the one that I've used from a professional standpoint.
So people can track you down and stalk you on LinkedIn if nothing else. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Val, go ahead. Let's take it away.
Well, if I remember correctly, were you a Key Clubber, Andre?
Yes, I was fortunate to be a Key Club president during my high school year. And one of the things that I love about my year, I was down in Eisenhower High School in Rialto, California. My year, I was the first one to allow women, young girls, to be a part of the club. I got a lot of pushback But even at that point in time in my life, I realized that anybody who wanted to serve should have the opportunity to serve. And because of your gender, that should not be a disclaimer to not be able to do so. So I thought it was important to make that happen. And just like everything else that I've done, I see the connections of organizations like Key Club, Rotaract, and as they move up to the Kiwanis and Rotaries, how we really need to facilitate that relationship and giving those young people the opportunity to see how they can transition into the service organizations as they become adults. Like I just did a promotion this week for MLK where we allowed free access to 4 of our books on the portal for anybody to sign up. I sent out, I'm putting them on the spot now. I sent books to the Rotary President International. I sent a book to the Kiwanis President. So I'm gonna put them on notice right now. We're looking for your support to help us get other clubs to know about what we're trying to do to give them these resources to go out and to help our community.
Here in the state of Nevada, the first week of March is Nevada Reading Week, where every school looks for guests to come in to read and things like that. Do you get involved in projects like that? What's your involvement? I mean, if I know a certain assistant principal who is involved in one of the elementary school, actually I know 2 of them. One of them is my spouse. That if you were to want to pay a visit to a school to spend a day or 2 going to different schools, do your thing, is that something you would like to do, or is that something you would do?
I still do. I just don't do it as much as I would like to, given my commitment flying airplanes twice, 2 weeks out the month, and then trying to make a schedule that makes it happening. But sure. I've usually try to work it out. Anybody that wants me to come, I usually try to find a way to make it happen. For example, I used to do a program down in Louisiana where I go visit 5 parishes during their summer program. I'm flying out to Milwaukee to their scheduling meetings to do a graduation for the middle school that I went to because I just wrote a book called Life Tools for my 6th grade teacher who changed my life. So we're going to get it back and go back to talk to that school. And I just got to talk to Mr. Finley over the holidays and to share with him how impactful he was in my life. So yes, there are opportunities, Aaron, for me to go do so. Any organization that wants to provide books for kids, I'm there to make that happen. So yes, please reach out in that regard.
Cool. I love it. I love it. We should do a segment, Andre on the road. My God. Between what he does and what you 2 do, you guys would circle the globe 1,000 times over in one day, for crying out loud. All right, that's what we call a segue. As we segue into finding out where Val's going to be in the coming time, it's time now for Val on the road. Let's start the engine.
Wow, I love my little Barbie car. I can tell you, I am all over the place over the next week. My favorite place that I'm going to be visiting is actually downtown Las Vegas. We're doing an inner club with the downtown Las Vegas Kiwanis Club. Dinner starts at 6. You need to be letting us know if you're coming because the menu is set and we are only allowing 30 people into that room. But before I go there, I'm actually headed to the Southwest District on Monday. And so I'll be in Phoenix, Arizona and in Tucson. And so, how does that work? So you're going to be on Monday, you're in Phoenix. And then I drive to Las Vegas from Phoenix, drive back in the middle of the night to be back in Phoenix, to be in Tucson for the rest of the week. And then I'll be in Turlock Friday and Saturday because we're doing our great big gigantic crab feed to support the Cal State Stanislaus. And so when I see you next time, I'll be in Turlock of all places. It's an amazing place. But my husband has been looking forward to your bad dad jokes. And so he stuck around to be able to hear this. He didn't stick around for me other than to make sure the phone doesn't ring in here and interrupt the vibe of what's going on. But I know.
First Gen Andy is making my dad jokes such a priority in his day.
He really does. He really does. Because my jokes fall flat. I'm telling you. And so it's a good thing. And he wants to know, are you wearing your shorts?
No, it's too cold here in Vegas. It's 40 degrees in my house. behind me, going outside. No, Andy, I'm sorry. I am wearing long pants. So
Yeah, he actually dialed in. It's like, this is the only time on Facebook that he'll actually type in anything.
I know, I see that. He's acknowledged that. I love it. Listen, truly, I feel honored that former first gen Andy is probably the only person looking forward to my dad jokes every week. And I look forward to telling them, and I look forward to the challenge of having Val fall off her chair in hysteria. But not everybody feels that way. So thank you, Andy. I appreciate at least one. So
He has his shorts on.
well, I don't. Andy, you haven't gone anywhere yet, Andy. I don't know what the weather's like where you guys are.
It's kind of cold. It's like 51 degrees.
All right. But is he planning on going outside today?
Yeah, he's getting ready to, after the show, literally, he's waiting to the show to end so that he can then go an hour to go shopping and come back. But I have to tell you something. I want to put an image into your head. In the last lifetime, when he was in grad school in Colorado in Fort Collins, and it's snowing up to his knees, he would be in his shorts and a puffy jacket barbecuing. Man does not like long pants.
I have a buddy of mine,
image, right?
I have a buddy of mine that used to live in Alaska. And not unlike Antarctica, where Andre's been, they get sick. They really get 12 months of winter. I don't care about the 6-month sunlight and stuff. My buddy, now he's taller than me and he's a bear. He's got hair all over his body. He's got natural fur. So maybe that helps him. But he sent me pictures, shorts, sandals, tons of snow around him, 40 below zero with somewhat of a jacket on. And what is he doing? Flipping burgers and rolling hot dogs outside. I'm like, you are flipping nuts, dude.
Uh-huh.
So God bless Andy and my buddy Scott. But well, that's good. I feel, well, I don't want, look, I want to end Andy on a high note. So let's wrap up with Andre, get some final particulars. And then as always, we'll send everybody out laughing with my jokes. Andy's got to be already laughing anyway. So Val, let's wrap up with Andre. Go ahead, please.
Andre, I'm so thankful that you're here. And I know that your email is going to be blowing up after this because people all over the world are piping in and they're so excited about what's going on. But is there an adventure that you would like for people to be contacting you about? If there's one thing that you want to be working on for the next 3 months, what would that be?
Oh, I got 2 projects that are coming my way that I can't really talk about just yet because they're in the works. But one is an
I was
international
hoping on an expose.
Yeah, there's another book that I think is going to be very impactful, not just for the U.S. but globally. With the organization that's wanting me to do their book customized for them. But the biggest thing I just want to share is, again, have people have the opportunity to look at the littleportal.com, and any organization that has a thing they would like to outreach or try to communicate to their community, contact me and see if we can help you create your customized work to make a difference in your community.
Very cool. Very well said. Very well said. So just remind everybody, the website, literaryengineers.com. That's the main one. You get all the books, information, everything that's out there. And Andre, correct me if I'm wrong, you write all the books, correct?
Yeah, so what I do, I know, right? So I write all the books, and then the way we do it is we work with the organization. So I don't have an ego with this. We look at the experts in the field. So organizations usually work with me between 4 to 6 people. They give me my homework. I come up with a storyline, storyboard. Then we go through a circle to make sure we get it exactly right because we want to make sure the information is to the point of the organization. And then I contract out with illustrators to meet the needs of the illustrations. And then we do all that. And typically what I've done in the past, it's just like buying the book off the shelf for $20 per book. That's it. People don't pay me for my time because this is my gift to give back. So my time and engagements and all the other resources it takes, people, I take care of that myself. You just make sure you get the books to the kids.
Right on. Perfect. I don't know if you saw it pop up, but Nancy Pearson has sent you an invite to come to Silicon Valley for Kiwanis Special Games on April 26th. So hopefully you guys will connect to see if that's possible. Again, Andre's email, if you want to email him directly to send him any of those kinds of things, alewis@literaryengineers.com. Of course, when I see A. Lewis, I think of Al Lewis, Grandpa from the Munsters, but that's the way my mind works. What can I tell you? A-list literary engineers. I probably dated myself there, John, didn't I? Probably with the reference of the Munsters. Holy cow. Also, Car 54, Where Are You? As well. Okay, silly enough. All right, the time has come. Andy, I hope. That's the two Utes, right. Andy, I hope you don't have any liquid, no coffee in your mouth. I don't want you to do any spit takes on Val during any of these. So here, remember, special number 5 today. I got 5. Here's the first one. What has more letters than the alphabet? The post office. I got Val covering on the first one. I got it. I'm going. I'm on the right track. Even Andre almost went backwards. I like that one. Number 2. Why do seagulls fly over the ocean?
They can't walk on water.
No, shut up. Because if they flew over the bay, we'd call them bagels.
Oh,
More to go. Hopefully they'll get better as I go. Although you like the first one. How do you follow Will Smith in the snow? You follow the Fresh Prince. No, that was for you snowbirds there, folks. Oh, wait a minute, Rich is giving me a groan. I got an LOL. Thank you, Kathy. Number 4. God Almighty. What do a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common?
what is a chick?
What does a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common? I almost don't want to say it because it's really stupid. They're both parasites. Oh, Andy, wait, Andy. All right.
Nice.
Andy, I got one for you. Last one. If you're Andre, do you golf at all?
Yes, a little bit.
Excellent. Then I'm so glad I'm ending this with you in mind. This joke is dedicated to you. Why do fathers take an extra pair of socks with them when they go golfing?
I know.
Shut up. Turn your mic.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Because they got a hole in one.
In case you got a hole in one. Right on. Woo! All right. See? True golfers and dads would know that one. That'll wrap it up for my bad dad jokes, thankfully. So this way, John, you can come back into the studio now. Turn my mic back on, will you, please? Anyway, thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you. Listen, Andre, I hope someday we'll have an opportunity to cross paths in person. I'd love to meet you and just shake hands and pick your brain. First of all, thank you for your service as a veteran. What branch did you serve?
Air Force.
Anything out here in Nellis with you?
No, actually, I was out at Travis Air Force Base for about 5 years, and then I spent 3 years in Altus, Oklahoma, teaching other people how to fly.
Oh, right on. Okay. Well, thank you for your service. Governor Val, final thoughts as we say goodbye, my friend.
You know, we just celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday on this past Monday. And I always am very reflective when it comes to that. And when I see how high Andre has soared and that he is reaching as he climbs, it makes me so proud and so amazed. And so everybody out there, keep the good fights going, make good trouble, and make it so that all of our kiddos have a better future than we had as part of our past. So thank you.
Right on. Absolutely love it. Andre, make sure when you're able to announce that new project, you better give Kiwanis Connects a scoop.
Will do, for sure.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Greatly appreciated. Just a quick programming note. Coming up in 1 hour, 11 a.m. Pacific time, the continuation of a brand new show called Permission Mission, hosted by Mary McElhatton. She is here to help talk about the one taboo topic that a lot of households really refrain from talking about when they should, and that is mortality and planning and talking about death and how healthy it is to actually talk about the emotions around that. With that, as always, be kind to everybody. Why? We're all we have. We'll see you next time right here on Kiwanis Connects. Thank you for watching.